Yeah, I guess the scary thing about our interceptor system is that, I mean, like, the worst fear is that some unhinged dictator like Kim Jong-un is gonna send a rocket, right? Send an ICBM towards us, and if they did that, we have the what's it called? I think it's called launch on warning system, which basically means the second our cyber system or our satellites detect a ballistic missile heading towards us, we have to empty our ICBM arsenals, right? All of our missiles that are in silos in the Northwest. You're rolling your eyes.
You're really making me go there, aren't you? Because I wasn't gonna come on here and make fun of Annie.
Come on, let's do it. We gotta challenge this stuff. So
for people at home who haven't read the book, essentially,
did you read it?
I read it.
Okay.
Yeah, I read it after watching your video, and I'm listening to it.
So let me sort of articulate what she explains in the scenario. So, in the event that Kim Jong-un launches a nuke, ICBM, towards the U.S., we see it on our radars, and we have 6 minutes to launch our ICBMs, because we have to assume that the second someone launches the first missile, they're going to, well, first of all, the idea is no one sends one nuke, they send the mother load if they're going to incite a nuclear war. But the first missiles are going to strike our nuclear missile sites that cannot be moved, the ones that aren't on planes and the ones that aren't on submarines. So our most vulnerable nukes are the ones that are land-based in, like, I think it's Montana and the Northwest. So our launch on warning system that we have in place is that once we see the missiles up, we have to empty those silos, right? And we have to go strike back at them. So now the problem is, if we launch over the North Pole, then we have to fly, those missiles have to fly over Russia before they hit North Korea. When's the last time we were able to get Russia on the phone or Putin on the phone in 6 minutes? I don't think it's ever happened. I think the last time that we tried to get Putin on the phone, it took like more than 48 hours before we can get a response. So, but Russia, their generals are going to see that we now have nukes flying towards Russia. Yeah. But there's very little, if not zero, chance that we're going to be able to get on the phone with them to let them know, look, these nukes aren't coming for you guys. They're going for North Korea. So they're going to see those coming from the U.S. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to launch theirs.
So that is an opinion a person can have. So Roger Ebert used to have this thing. He called it the idiot plot, which is the only way that a movie can work is if everyone's an idiot. Right? And in that particular book, in that particular scenario, that was a very unique scenario. So in this particular thing, North Korea launches a nuclear weapon, and the United States decides to fire their arsenal, but because those weapons have to go over Russia and we can't get Russia on the phone, Russia counterstrikes. Now, I think probably what would have really happened is we would have just let it come.
Really?
Let it take out the Pentagon. We can do Pentagon, whatever, right? So what if there's not a nuclear weapon on it? There's no way of knowing. Is that a nuclear weapon? Is it a decoy? Will that weapon actually explode? I actually question whether Russia's arsenal, whether their nuclear arsenal has enough tritium in it to actually work. Tritium decays. It's a radioactive isotope that's used to actually boost the nuclear fusion process.
This is a big debate to have in 6 minutes.
It is, but here's the deal. One nuclear weapon is headed toward the U.S. We have time. We have our submarines. We have our bombers. We have all of our missile fields. We see one weapon. We don't see an entire 2,000 weapons coming out. So we see one weapon. All right. One weapon could be a MIRV, multiple independently targetable reentry vehicle. Could be a MIRV, right? Could be multiple weapons on it. But even one missile isn't going to take out multiple silos, right? So we're still going to have our counter. So another thing, in nuclear warfare, you have counterforce and countervalue. All right, counterforce is you're attacking the enemy's ability to launch nuclear weapons. Countervalue, you're attacking economic targets, the ability of the enemy to wage war. All right, attacking Washington, D.C., I guess you'd call that a countervalue target, right? Not necessarily a counterforce, a counterforce target because you want to cut off the head of the snake, right? You want to cut off the command and control capabilities. So let it hit Washington. Screw it. Maybe it's a dud. Maybe it won't explode. Maybe it's a chemical weapon. You lose Washington, You know what happens? Nothing. So you got to get a new Congress. That's easy, trivial. You can do that, right? But you launch that nuclear weapon, and it takes out Washington, D.C. We still have 1,500, 1,800 ICBMs. Well, we have 400 or so ICBMs in Minuteman ICBMs. We have a bunch on submarines, and then we have some gravity bombs and cruise missiles, the AGM-86s that can be launched from B-52s, and gravity bombs that can be fired from the B-2.
Do you think we have them on satellites?
No.
No?
I mean, I don't know, but for what? There's no purpose. There's no reason for that. You know, we know about every satellite we ever launched.
But we worry about other countries having them on satellites.
So what does that actually give you?
Only thieves think people are stealing from them.
I mean, I don't really see how that gives us any kind of an advantage, having a weapon in a satellite. I mean, we have enough to boost stuff into orbit and explode them if you want to do an EMP attack. But so yeah, I mean, so there's that. So let it explode. Screw it. Let it explode. And then after that, we can look at our options. So that's number one. Part of the plot point of that book was that Russia sees us attacking. Russia has the capability of detecting a launch from North Korea.
Say that again?
Russia has the capability of detecting a launch from North Korea.
Okay.
Their systems might not be as good as Cyber's, but they'll definitely go, whoa, something just blew up in Washington. We don't know what that was. Let's get America on the phone.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a major, again, it's the idiot plot. Roger Ebert's idiot plot. In order for this to work, everybody has to be an idiot. Mm-hmm. Right? So we kind of traipse toward nuclear war, in that particular book. Mm-hmm. And I don't really foresee and if we had done that, if they really did explode a nuclear weapon over Washington, you would have the 2nd ID, 2nd Infantry Division, and every single ROK soldier and Marine in Republic of Korea ready to go north and jack these guys up. We wouldn't even have to use a nuclear weapon. North Korea would probably collapse in about 3 days if we offered them food. Right? It's such
What do you think about the part in the book where she says that there have been like hundreds and hundreds of war game simulations that they've run, and every single time this exact thing happens?
Well, just because you ran the simulation doesn't mean it's actually how it's going to work out. I mean, I can tell you, if I were the president, and I noticed, if I were the president, right? Like if I were the president,
Ryan McBeth
National
for president.
Day. Right?
I think you'd be a good president. You would at least be good for morale.
Oh my God, I would be the first bachelor president since Chester A. Arthur. Right? Can you imagine? It's tough enough for me trying to date women now. Can you imagine what that's like if I'm president? So what do you do? Well, I'm the president.